This summer, your kids, they're at home. Maybe they're spending too much time on their phones or their social media. And the big question for parents is, how do you limit that screen time? Well, joining us now live this morning is the author of Digital Detox, who also hails from right here in Fresno. We have Mom Molly DeFrank. And Molly, hello. Thank you so much for joining us, if you can hear me there.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And just tell us, you're a local mom. You're from here. You're an author. When did you first realize you wanted to start talking about this topic?
Well, like most parents, we noticed that there were some negative effects of screen time for our kids. We have 6 kids and foster kids, and we were seeing the effects of it and didn't really like it. And so we were already limiting the screen time. We were already setting the timers, and still we were seeing negative effects. And it wasn't until we pulled the plug entirely that we saw total transformation in our home. And I started helping friends and then strangers online. And what we found is that this system that we have works, and it totally transforms your kids. It helps you put technology back in its right place. And I love helping parents.
Wow, and that is so cool. And from your personal perspective and experience too, what were some of the negative effects that you were seeing, and likely a lot of other parents too?
Yeah, so one of the major ones was after screen time, there were these meltdowns happening. The kids couldn't transition from a screen to a non-screen. It was like something else had a hold on them. And through the course of researching for this book, what I found is there's actually science to support this. Physiologically, something is changing in their brain. So they really need us to kind of get in there, roll up our sleeves, and help them put technology in its right place. Another thing that we noticed was amped up sibling fights, next level. And I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I've seen sibling fights, but what we're seeing in our kids, it is next level. So if you're a parent, you're getting those nudges that something's off, you're probably right.
Wow, and we want to talk about your book in a second, and we have a photo of it as well, but without giving too much away, because folks can learn more in your book, but what are some of the steps parents can utilize to start this digital detox, and maybe even adults will utilize this too?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing, which is also the scariest for parents, is you got to go cold turkey. So I say it's 2 weeks cold turkey. And the reason why, it goes back to that science I was talking about earlier. Our kids' devices are engineered to release excessive amounts of dopamine in the brain, and real life just can't compete with that. So when you reset those dopamine levels for those 2 weeks, you're actually giving your kids a chance to reawaken a love of real life. And I walk parents through the very simple steps in the book. But yeah, so you're going to unplug your kids cold turkey. You're going to notice your kids like never before. I guarantee you will find new skills, talents, hobbies for your kids during this time span. And you're going to make a list together of screen-free fun. And you're also going to help hook them on books. So I go through all this in the book.
What a great plan, and really easy for parents to implement too. And then just lastly, especially you doing this in your own home and seeing these changes, why is this so important to connect in real life and kind of step away from our screens?
That is the hugest question. Before COVID hit, we were in the midst of the worst youth mental health crisis we had ever seen. And then COVID and all these shutdowns, what we took away from our kids by forcing them online and taking away that face-to-face interaction, it was catastrophic. So now we saw that screen time doubled for kids over the course of the pandemic, recreational screen time. And depression tripled. That's for our older kids. For our younger kids, they are being deprived of the play and the skills that they have historically always needed to develop properly. And what I just want to encourage parents with is that the fix is so simple. It is so simple, and I will walk you through all of it in the book, and you're not alone. You can do this thing. 85% of parents are concerned with the amount of time their kids are spending on a screen. So if that's you, you're in the majority. Welcome to the club, and we can get through this together.
I love it. Molly DeFrank. Molly, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Digital Detox. We're going to put your book up on screen one more time. Folks can Google this, find it online, and order Molly's book here, and local author. Molly, thank you so much for joining us bright and early this morning to talk about a really important topic. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, of course. Thank you so much. Hey, it's 6:42 and still ahead on Eyewitness News this morning. We're live again next with Miss California as she prepares for the big competition. We'll be right back to hear more about her year, her reign, and how you can get tickets to watch next.